So before we begin our activity on key language uses and language expectations, along with language functions, we are going to stop for a moment and reflect on a model unit that I taught to my fourth graders. The unit was on the topic of electricity, and we read What's the Big Idea? Ben Franklin, an informational text. And then we read another informational text, an autobiography on who was Thomas Alva Edison. We constructed lighthouses using 2-liter plastic soda bottles, flashlight bulbs, little batteries, and electrical wire. And we learned about electrical circuits by watching a video on open and closed electrical circuits. And so as I reflect on my unit on electricity, and we have previously talked about what the overarching key language uses would be for that unit. We had 2 learning products. We constructed a poster on either Ben Franklin's contributions to electricity, or we constructed an informational poster on Thomas Alva Edison's contributions to electricity. The students chose which scientist they wanted to construct their poster on. We also had a learning activity where we had to explain to a partner how an electrical circuit worked. And so those were our 2 learning products, and our most prominent key language use for this unit was to inform. Think about our informational posters that we were constructing. And then our second learning activity, we were explaining to a partner how electrical circuits work. And so obviously our key language use there was that of explain. And so let's take a look at our most prominent key language uses. And since this was an integrated unit on language arts and science, I'm looking at my distribution of key language uses for language arts, and I see that inform is most prominent, and that matches well or aligns well with my poster activity describing each man's contributions to the development of electricity. And then if I look at the language for science, I see that explain is one of my most prominent key language uses. And so in my learning activity, I am explaining to a partner how electrical circuits work. So those are my most prominent key language uses that we have just identified for my electricity unit for grades 4. And then I need to select a language expectation and language function. And so if we look at the key language use of inform for the language for language arts, I'm looking here at inform expressive, construct informational text in language arts that. And then I'm going to select a language function from the bulleted list. And for my students, what I chose as the teacher was I wanted my students to learn how to add precision and details to define, describe, compare, and classify my topic or entity of electricity, and in particular, each man's contributions to the development of electricity. And then let's take a look at the key language use of explain. And we would be in expressive, as we, in our learning activity, we are explaining to a partner how closed and open electrical circuits work. So I'm selecting the language function of describing observations and or data about the phenomenon of electricity. And so now it's your turn. I want you to reflect on a unit that you are either currently teaching or is upcoming, and consider your overarching key language use. We've already talked about key language uses, and then I want you to dig deeper and consider what would be the most prominent language expectation that aligns to your unit and your most prominent language function, and then the supports your multilingual learners would need to engage with that language expectation and language function.